Hello, everyone. Raymond Mhor, Guilty Prepper. How's everybody doing? Got a very, very interesting story today. Do you realize that our produce supply is slowly poisoning us? I mean, true. It's interesting. A report came out today from actually the Health Ranger, and it says 75% of this or non organic produce contains toxic pesticides. The environmental working group, who is the people who are doing all this testing and such, environmental working group, who is come out every year and they bring up their what's called their dirty dozen, uh, highlighted these veggies and produce today, and it's showing that out of all the produce and fruits that they tested, 75% of all of this actually had residue of toxic pesticides. In their research, what's called the Environmental Working Group, or EWG, looked at 46 different produce staples. Overall, the organization found 75% freshly grown produce in the US contains some degree of harmful residue. Strawberries, grapes, apples, nectarines, pears, cherries were ranked top at the list and being the most dangerous when grown conventionally. Blueberries and kale, as well as other leafy greens, were also very high and heavily sprayed with chemicals when grown conventionally. 6%, get this, 6% of green beans the group found contains a neurotoxin, organophosphate, which was banned actually for the use of green beans back in 2011, and it's a proven carcinogen. They've showed that this is taking place right now, and so it's very troubling. In fact, organophosphates were among the most common class of crop chemicals identified by the EWG. So, what do organophosphates do to the body? For one, they damage the nervous system, but they're particularly damaging to kids and also with the brain function. So, their developing brains become poisoned with this chemical. So, what foods are were the top 12? Well, let me get this here. So it is strawberries, spinach, kale, collard greens, and mustard greens. They're lumping all the greens together. Peaches, pears, nectarines, apples, grapes, bell peppers, cherries, blueberries, and green beans. Now, to give you the flip side of that, the plants that actually had less pesticides or very little pesticides or such on it were avocado, sweet corn, pineapple, onions, papaya, sweet peas, frozen, asparagus, honeydew melon, kiwi, cabbage, mushroom, mangoes, sweet potatoes, watermelons, and carrots. So, with all of this going on, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I get my produce home or when I'm getting ready to cook it or so forth and so on, I just run it under the tap water and that's pretty much, rinse it off and everything. But just doing some quick research and stuff, it's actually not doing much. And what you need to do, and I'm sure going to go out and get some of this, today or tomorrow, is actually what's called veggie wash or some sort of produce wash solution. And there are several brands that I was looking at. One is called Veggie Wash, and then another one that I've seen in the grocery stores is called Fit. And in fact, Fit also has an organic blend as well. So what we need to start be doing here is start washing our fruits and vegetables rather well, because again, 75% of these fruits and vegetables are actually containing pesticides, and these pesticides are bad for you. And it's showing that basically the American public is slowly being poisoned with a lot of these pesticides that are cancer causing and very dangerous. And so, do a favor and click the comments below, see what your thoughts are, and let me know. And then also, I'll put some links to Veggie Wash and Fit so that you guys can get some of this too. I don't know if it's offered in your grocery stores. I haven't seen Veggie Wash, but when I was doing a lot of my research, it's probably one of the more popular ones out there, followed by Fit. And I have seen Fit in our grocery store before, so I'm going to make sure I pick up a couple bottles of that to ensure that I wash our produce and such. And again, we don't need to be poisoning ourselves. And another thing to also help you kind of bypass all this is grow a garden. So that you know what is coming, what you're putting into your family's, health and welfare, as well as how you are planting it and how you're raising it and everything. Are you using organic chemicals or whatever, to protect your garden and so forth? So make sure that, start a garden this year, folks, big time. It's super important. And so, um, another thing too is if you're new, I just want to thank you for tuning in and like, subscribe, and share, and ring that little bell so that you know when I'm going to post new live or new video. And then I just want to welcome back any of my community members, and I want to thank them for tuning in as well. But this is something that kind of stood out to me as I was doing my news, gathering this morning. And these are things that are not being reported very much. And so I think it's more important. I know that I'm going to be doing this for my family, where I just, was just rinsing stuff off and everything. I'm going to be doing this more heavily in for our family and make sure that our produce is properly washed. If you know of any sort of solution, or if you got a homemade product or recipe of what you're doing to wash your fruits and vegetables, do me a favor and post it down below. Give me the recipe, share the recipe, and I'll put it out there as well. And so, but I just wanted to come on here really quickly. I thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Raymond Mhor, Kilted Prepper. So we'll see you. Goodbye. God bless. And kilt on.